To pull data into a function or formula, we can reference the cell or cells containing this data. This means functions will process information provided from a specific range of cells rather than having to hardcode the data into each instance of the function itself. A cell reference is simply a way to refer to a cell in your spreadsheet by using its location, which consists of a column letter followed by a row number. The cell in the first column and first row is referred to as A1. The cell in the second column and the third row is referred to as B3, and the cell in the fifth column and 11th row is referred to as E11. Cell references are used in formulas to specify which cells should be included in the calculation. There are two types of cell references in Google Sheets: relative and absolute. When you copy a formula that contains a relative cell reference to another cell, the reference changes automatically based on the relative position of the cells. If you have a formula in cell C2 that refers to cell A1 and you copy that formula to cell D4, the reference to A1 will automatically change to B3. This is because the formula is relative to the location of the cell where it's being copied to. An absolute cell reference always refers to the same cell, regardless of where the formula is copied to. You can create an absolute cell reference by adding a $sign before the column letter and before the row number of the cell reference. If you have a formula in cell C2 that refers to an absolute cell reference of A1 and you copy that formula to cell D4, the reference to A1 will remain unchanged. This is because the formula is absolute, meaning it always refers to the same cell. If you have a formula in cell C2 that refers to cell A1 where the $sign is only in front of the A and not in front of the 1, when you copy that formula to cell D4, the reference to A1 will change to A3, as the reference to column A will remain absolute, but the row number remains relative. And looking at the other way around, where we have $1, when you copy that formula to cell D4, the reference to A1 will change to B1 as the reference to column A is relative, but the row number is absolute. A cell range is simply a group of cells that are adjacent to each other and are used together in a function or formatting. A range can be created across rows, columns, or a combination of both. You can use cell ranges in formulas and functions to perform calculations across multiple cells at once. To create a cell range, you simply start typing a cell followed by a colon, then the end cell. To select cells within column C from row 5 through 9, type C5 to C9. To select cells within column C from row 5 to the end of column C, type C5 to C. To select all cells within column C, simply type C to C. To select cells within row 5 from column C through G, type C5 to G5. To select cells within row 5 from column C to the end of row 5, type C5 to 5. To select all cells within row 5, type 5 to 5. To select cells in column C through column G, from row 5 through row 14, type C5 to G14. Ranges can utilize both relative and absolute references within the same range. For example, absolute C5 to relative C9. If this formula is copied from its original location into the next cell below, the range would update to read absolute C5 to relative C10. This is because the start of the range is locked to the absolute value of both the row and column of C5, but the end of the range is floating as a relative value, so copying to one row lower will add 1 to the row value. Alternatively, if this formula is copied from its original location into a cell 2 columns to the right and 5 cells below, the range would update to read absolute C5 to relative E14. This is because the start of the range is locked to the absolute value of both the row and column of C5, but the end of the range is floating as a relative value, so copying to 2 columns to the right will add 2 letters to the column value and will add 5 to the row value.